Good morning, everybody. R.A.T here. We're gonna do another little, my legend just came on. We're gonna do another little how-to video. I'm gonna expound a little bit on the last one, which was about getting stuff out of the hole and knowing when it was out of the hole. But mostly I'm gonna talk about a repeatable signal. You all the time hear people talking about they get a signal, they dig it, it goes away, they can't find it. Well, you know, all digging situations are different. So I can't sit here and say dig this or don't dig that. But if you get a signal and you rotate 90 degrees on it and it's not as good, or you're doubting digging it, once again, if you're in a farm field and you know everything's 150 to 250 years old or more, you might dig it. But if you're around an old home site where you know where if you swing another 3 feet, you know you're gonna have a piece of brass to dig up and a good signal, then you might not dig it. But bottom line is, it needs to be repeatable. It doesn't matter the number, it doesn't matter the tone. I'm not saying dig every good solid iron tone that's a 5 on the legend. By the way, I got a legend, so that's all I can really talk about. So but anything 10, 15 or higher that's repeatable, if that number says 18, 18, 18, a lot of times it's a button. So yeah, recently I dug a mouth harp that rang up, I think it was 1921. Cool, one of the cooler finds recently. But anyway, yeah, I have a legend. It reads 0 to 60. And when it locks on a target, you know it. If you're in doubt and you wanna, oh, by the way, I'm in about a 1/10, 2/10 of an acre seeded area, so that when we have group hunts here at Sister Rhonda's house and my mom's house, we plant stuff just in this one little teeny little spot. But it's probably got 600 or 800 items in it. Most of them are things that I've dug. There's about 100 things here that I went to a seeded hunt and dug up some stuff, and I brought them planted here and kind of wish I hadn't. Some gold-plated buttons and stuff like that. But anyway, most of it's stuff that I dug somewhere else and brought here and planted for kids and or beginners. So anyway, I'm gonna lock on about 5 different signals. I'm gonna show you what a solid signal is, repeatable tone, repeatable signal, and I'm gonna dig them right quick. So come go with me. All right, even in the repeatable signal world, that is not a high number, but it can be a button or something. Once again, if you're in doubt, most of this stuff I've planted, so I'm not going to be very deep. So let's flip this out of the hole and see what we got. 15, 16 on the legend. That was not a good signal, so that was a good example to start with. But look, it is a solid 16. So something little bitty, maybe a little bitty 22 shell or something like that. All right, so back on this little 16 on the legend. Some little bitty something. Where are you, little bitty something? Oh, got my ring on. Never ending. Every single time I go detecting. We knew it was a little bitty signal. So what I'm doing is I'm starting out this how-to video on how not to. Oh yeah. Where did you go, little piece of stuff? All right, there you are. I just pushed it over to the side. The whole point of this video is that things just about don't go away. What we got there? We have that little bitty piece of maybe a jar lid or something. Yeah, that's about what it is, a little piece of something brass.
You didn't plant that.
So that was the signal. All right, I'm gonna run it across my coil.
Yep, 16, 16, 16.
So solid 16. So even though it was a low number, it was repeated. Next target's gonna be better than that, I promise. Like I said, I probably got 500, 600, 800 cool things planted here. So let's dig one up. I don't want to dig up too many because then I have to
bury them again.
So 22. So that's probably either a nickel or a head stamp. Could be a button, but once again, solid that way, solid that way. Worth digging. flip it out of the ground. This goes back to the previous how-to video. Flip it out of the ground. Know you're out of the ground. Ah, it's not out of the ground. Still in the hole. Got to be close to it though, like I say. Most of this stuff. There you go. That's why it was a mid-tone.
Ah.
Old piece of horse tack.
Yep.
That may or may not have been planted here. There was an old house here at one time, so who knows. It's too dry to be doing this. I know that. I don't know that my plugs are gonna go back good. Cool old stuff. All right, we're gonna get a high tone here in a minute. Here's a higher tone. So typically anything a high 30s or more, a penny, and it goes up from there. Sister Rhonda's got a cough. She's had for a minute. All right. Still in the hole. Oh, I see it. See it? That is a head stamp.
Yep.
When we say head stamp, y'all, assume most of y'all, although probably incorrectly, know that is a top to an old paper shotgun shell. So shotgun shells used to be paper. Paper goes away. The top was brass because that was the important part. And yeah, well, you dig them all the time. All right, we're gonna get an even better tone and show y'all. So once again, repeatable tone. If that's not a penny, I'll be surprised. Typically, if it's high 30s, a solid 40, 41 on the legend, it's a penny. So flip it out of the ground. Once again, what we're talking about is trying to avoid ghost signals. Most stuff here is planted 2 or 3 inches deep, so might have to get outside the seeded area and find a little signal to show you. But yeah, what we're got it out. So trying to avoid ghost signals. How do you do that? You don't dig a signal unless it's repeatable. And once again, that's different for different places. What in the world do I have?
What is that?
That was not planted. Some sort of battery or no idea what that is. Anyway, it was a penny signal. Dug it just like a penny. Sorry. All right, y'all. We're gonna get a coin signal here that's it's a little bouncy for a penny. It could be. So once again though, repeatable. Not necessarily the number, but the number's repeatable and the tone's repeatable. Typically, if that number's jumping from 15 to 45, it's a big chunk of iron. So I'm out of the hole. I'm still predicting penny, but you know, I did that last time and saw what we got, so. Ah, it's a bullet. Look at me not knowing what I'm talking about. Looks like a modern bullet. Let's find a coin, come on. Dig one more good target here in the seeded area. There we go. Surely that's a penny, isn't it? I'm gonna dig one more good target here in the seeded area. And then I'm gonna get outside the seeded area and see if I can find you a target that I wouldn't dig. That's probably not too difficult. We've had a couple of group hunts here. I think I'm out, can't really tell. I think I see it. Well, that's cool. That is a eagle button. Yeah, very cool. That came from the seeded hunt that I did. So he's pretty. Beautiful. Look, he's got a full shank. He's from Waterbury something button company. Anyway,
very cool. That's
a very cool repeatable signal. That was a, what, a 43, 44 on the legend. Yep. Now we're gonna get outside the seeded area and I'm gonna show you a couple of targets that I probably wouldn't dig. All right, so this is we're outside the seeded area, so this could be anything. Probably a pull tab at that number, but who knows, could be a button. Once again, we're not in the seeded area anymore, so I'm gonna dig this one, and then I'm gonna try to find you one, like I said, to show you what not to dig. Definitely moved it because it changed. Let's see what it is. Not big. Did I move it? Get it loose. Ooh. I know what that is. That's cool. That's legit fine. So back in the day, before they had plastic roofing nails, they dipped the nails in lead. So they got lead melted, dipped the nails in there, and this supposedly, since lead was soft, sealed up the hole when they nailed that in the roof. Anyway, that's a decent little target, decent little mid-tone on the Legend. Somewhere right in here, definitely got some iron. You can see the iron showing up. Somewhere right in there, there's a signal. There's a trying to be a high tone, probably catching the edge of that iron. But once again, that's when you got to decide, dig it or don't dig it. Now, if you're on the beach, which I don't do a lot of, but if you're on the beach or you're in a farm field and you expect everything to be deep or small or whatever, but if I'm at an old house and I got that jumping and hitting 20 about every 4 swing, I'm probably not going to dig that. It's trying to be something, but I think it's just catching a piece of iron or a bent nail. But that's an example of probably what I wouldn't dig. And to me, if you're digging and losing signals, that's the kind of signal you might be digging. Doesn't mean you shouldn't dig it, but the more of those right there, you turn 180 on them, they're not stronger. You turn 90 on them. Those are the signals that you need to avoid if you don't want to be chasing ghosts. It's catching the piece of iron, it's catching a bent nail, catching the round head of a nail, and who knows? It could be a wheat penny down 15 inches deep. But that's an example of what I would not dig if I wanted to find every signal that I went after. And I usually find 99 out of 100. I'm not gonna say I never lose a target, but rare. I'm gonna dig one more hole and we're gonna wrap this up. All right, y'all, right here beside Sister Rhonda's house. That's probably a piece of aluminum foil, but we're gonna dig it in closing. And it's difficult to show you what not to do. But once again, repeatable signals. Keep that term in your mind when you're digging, especially I see people on Facebook every now and then talking about, you know, losing signals 50% of the time and chasing signals all day that aren't there. And that just, if you have a repeatable signal, there's no reason you should lose it. If it's repeatable in the hole, it should be repeatable out of the hole. Once again, I'd be real surprised if this isn't something like aluminum foil. Look at there. All right. Repeatable signals, even if they're they're easy to get out of the ground. If they're not repeatable, you're gonna be chasing ghosts all day long. Good luck digging.